The psychoactive drug that I chose to talk about are mushrooms, or scientific name, the psilocybe cubanus, the magic mushrooms. And I chose them because the other day I was listening to a podcast about research that I think was done around the 70s in Harvard, where this grad student professor would have his grad students take shrooms and document their effects, and then after that it became illegal, but recently it's become legal, I guess, or very strict rules to study the effects of psychedelic drugs like mushrooms. Um, and in the podcast, it talked about how the people who took shrooms, who had that experience, will name it as one of the top 5 most important experiences in their life, which I just thought was insane. I've never heard of someone, they called their trip as these grown people as one of the most important things in their life. So I got interested, and now I'm gonna make my video about that. The way shrooms work is that they affect your central nervous system, and unlike other psychotropic drugs like LSD that cause hallucinations, they don't cause hallucinations. They just cause a distortion of your perception. So colors and sounds and tastes and textures are distorted, and feelings and emotions intensify. And it's a shorter trip than LSD, and it's milder because it's actually just a mushroom that's found in the wild. They're not produced in a lab, and they're not chemically altered. It's just the effects that the mushroom has on you. And like we learned about our senses, is that it's a long process of touching or smelling or seeing, and then it being taken up by our nervous system to our brain to create whatever we tasted or saw. So it affects that process and it distorts it, and then same with our emotions. And I got this information from a website called howstuffworks.com, and the name of the title of the article is also Science. And it's a good website because the authors all have a lot of them have their BAs in science. Like the one who wrote this article has her BA in environmental science from Barnard College, and the other author of the article has her BA in English from the University of West Virginia. And it goes through a lot of the history and the science and the different types of mushrooms, comparing it and contrasting it to other psychedelic drugs. Mushrooms are agnostic. I can't pronounce it, but they create a hyper connection between neurons, and also it says that research has started to find that they will connect regions of the brain that weren't normally connected, but then after the effect of the drug wears off, those regions will unconnect and go back to normal. And this hyperconnection is what makes you feel that intense, those intense senses. And then it also connects to serotonin, so it binds to the serotonin receptors to release serotonin, and serotonin is related to your mood and to your happiness, which is why you get that kind of feel-good feeling if you go on shrooms. So the other article I found, which is a good source, is I found it on Google Scholar, which already gave me the stamp of approval of that, and it's from the Proceedings of National Academy of Science of the United States of America.org. So it's a credible website, and the article title was called Hallucinogenics Actions on Human Brain Revealed. And there's a lot of complicated chemistry, but I understood the basic what mushrooms basically do on your brain, as I had just talked about. And the author of the article is his last name's Lee, and he has many other articles found in Google Scholar about biological sciences, about neuroscience, medical sciences, physical science, and more biological sciences. So he has written many articles that have to do with biology and science, which makes him a credible author.